an easy journey of entrepreneurship. It is, but it's a unique journey, and it's a, and that's what we're going to, that's what we're doing on this platform, the ETTP platform, giving businesses that opportunity to tell us about their journeys, their stories. So without further ado, I want to introduce to you this afternoon Mr. Dwayne Moth, a young businessman, and he's a founder director of Arebone Building. And before we start, I want to, before even the introduction, Dwayne, I want you just to do a kata just for 10 seconds so that the people see you're not just a businessman, but you also, I think you have represented South Africa in karate, something in that line. Just explain to us what you know, also that background quickly. Do a kata for us and then we'll continue. Thank you.
So I never represented, good afternoon everyone. So I haven't represented South Africa, but I'm a third Dan in Shukukai Tenshin Do Karate, and yes, I do.
Okay, maybe, yeah, just do a, I think it's a kata, just quickly do just a 10-second kata there, please, Dwayne.
A 10-second kata. But what would I do?
The one, Dwayne, the one that you knocked me out, that
the
one.
one that I knocked you out.
Yes.
So a kata, I can do a breathing kata, which is very good. That helps with stress, helps with lung capacity and things like that. If you have asthma, it is something good to do. It is called sunshine. So you would stand like this, but it is deep breathing from the abdomen, not just shallow breathing, but deep breathing. So you go.
I can feel it. Dwayne, I can feel that.
Sorry?
I can feel it.
You can feel it. It's a very good thing to do, especially with breathing exercises, because at times when we're stressed out, we have shallow breathing or we don't breathe deeply, which is a good thing to do. It helps with stress and everything. So during this lockdown on level 3, we can be all practicing deep breathing.
You know what, Dwayne, thank you so much. You know, it's out of the box, but that's how I got to know you. Know, there's always some stuff in the background, or as individuals that we need to, you know, be well conditioned when we, you know, when we pitch up for the day, or when we wake up in the morning. You know, it's a challenge, but there's some stuff that we need to do with our bodies and our minds to align ourselves with this, with the challenges of the day. So, but without further ado, let's just. I want to just to zoom in on the yourself and also the business and your journey. Dwayne, what's the background? What's your childhood? How was it like before you got into this entrepreneurship journey of yours?
Yeah, I've always been, I think, a salesman. From selling chicken, eggs, to fruits and vegetables, to sweets, to breeding and selling birds, different species of birds, and that is what I used to do. So selling was my thing, and then in 2012 I started with Arebone Building Enterprise after studying civil engineering and working at PDNA as a junior engineer. I then moved to a factory in Store Mill, scrubbing floors, packing boxes, driving a forklift, and it was then when I registered my company in 2012.
Dwayne, how's the journey been since 2012? How was the journey being in business? Look, you're a young man. It wasn't always easy, but just explain to us that journey since 2012.
So
at a very young age, really. You know, it's a very young age, young man. You know, yes. In this challenging environment and landscape, what was the journey like?
So I started when I was 22 years old. It was challenging, very difficult. There were some people that told me, do not venture into the unknown. But it was a risk. It was a risk that I took, and yes, it has been growing ever since then. And yeah.
So tell us a bit about your business. So what is Arebone? What's the business? What are you doing? What solutions or what yeah, solutions to challenges are you helping with and addressing?
So we're a building contracting company. We do tenant installations and we do office refurbishment. We've done a few home developments and things like that. We do building plastering, waterproofing, tiling, painting, drywalling, suspended ceiling. And I know with Property Point, I was asked to do what is a catchy phrase for my business. And seeing that I do karate, I came up with the thing that it is that we are black belt drywall and ceiling installers. That was the catch. And Arebone is a Setswana name, a word for let's see, which my grandmother came up with the name Arebone, and she also came up with a motto. So let's see it and change it. And also with the logo, there were 12 logos that was there, and I said to her, choose a logo that you like. And the logo, the current logo of the company, same logo that we use since 2012, where she said that do look, remember where you come from, but do look forward to the journey.
Oh,
So
great.
that is.
Yeah, that's some good advice, from mature people. Just tell us that slogan of yours again.
Let's see it and change it. Or the other one,
The
we are
black.
black belt drywallers
No,
and
but you must say
ceiling.
it now with some energy because that's your slogan. So you've got an opportunity to say it just to, yeah.
Okay, so we are black belt drywalls and ceiling installers.
Thank you, Dwayne. So listen, let's just talk about the journey. You've started in 2012, and so you've done some smaller work. But how was the transition into the private sector? Because I know that you've done some work in the private sector, that you are pretty much doing work for corporates. But how was that initial, getting into making contact, or how did you find those early days in just taking your business and to go into this private sector monster, which everybody's, it is a challenge. How did you go about? What was your whole methodology?
I think it's persistence. I'm a very persistent person, as you know, in the video of 2018 of the graduation where I mentioned it took me 2 years to get into Property Point, which eventually I was in and part of the intake. And I think it was persistence. I mean, we've worked in Northwest, Bloemfontein, we've worked in Cape Town, in Durban, Polokwane, Witbank. So we've worked on a national level. We've done work for big companies such as Bytes Technology, Edcon, Stargate Scientific, Joburg Water, Transnet, City Power, Growth Point Properties. And yeah, so the journey, I think it was persistence. It's either you'll get tired of me or you will say, or you'll get tired and eventually say, okay, let's give you a try. And we take all works, we take small works and big works. So many times companies refuse to do the small works. I mean, for two of the companies where we do work, they sent us go to Van der Bijl Park to go change 4 door handles, and go to Witbank to go sort out the counters that are there. So it was small works, and the distance was quite far, but yet we took it. So, and that just grew and grew and grew. So I think it is also the 1-2 of business, not just for the big works, but for the small works as well.
Yeah, so you're mentioning persistence. It's very important that to be persistent, to knock on doors.
Yes.
As a small business, and I just want to commend you on doing that, because it's not easy to get into corporates. Even as
Yes.
as a young business, you're always a risk. Just give me practical ways. How did you go about knocking on doors? What was was it a profile? Was it meeting somebody, or trying to meet somebody? Was it through procurement? What is your methodology? How do you approach business?
So if
or
a
clients,
business
potential clients?
potential client, if a business comes to mind, or I would see anything, I would approach them, find out who the buyers are, or the procurement department. I would email the profile, and also not a lengthy profile, because some people don't have the time to read lengthy profiles. So short profile of what we do and things like that. And I would do a 2-week follow-up after that. Even if it's a month follow-up after that, 6 months after that, I would follow up again. There's some people a year follow-up that I would do. So I would constantly follow up to find out what is there available, when is the database opening to be registered on as a new supplier. And
Yeah, so and I also believe in what you're saying is that communication is very important. Following up, communicate to your client,
yes, yes.
communicate to your current clients. How do you? But how do you communicate? Do you have a report that you give through on a regular basis? I'm talking about client relationship management, because you are mentioning that you've got clients. How do you retain clients? What's your, not so much the secret sauce, because that's your secret sauce, but what do you do to retain those clients that you've just mentioned, the likes of a Growth Point, the likes of the other corporates and other opportunity holders or clients?
I think it also comes to personality. What is your personality? And people, like it was said at Property Point, people like to do business with people they like. So I think it's the personality in your approach, how you handle problems. Are you a solution to some of the problems that they are facing? If there's a problem that occurs, do you sort it out on time? What is the quality of the work? And so it boils down to that.
Um, uh, Staff is very important, and I've heard, and I know this. Your staff to you is not just employees. You don't see them as employees or just casuals or temps, or you've got a very strong relationship with your team, and you call them your
Yes.
team. Just explain to me, uh, um, before we get to COVID, before we get to the lockdown, and there was a lot of challenge around teams working remotely and how you engage with your teams. Just before that, how's your relationship, and how do you keep this strong relationship, with your team, the guys around you?
I think it's also how they are treated, because we all treat each other with respect. Yes, we do have fun on site and things, so it's not a a difficult thing to come to work and things like that. We sort out challenges and problems together, and not just on a business level, but I mean on a personal level. For their families, they will contact if this is a story, or they need help with this, or they need guidance with this. And so that is the relationship we have with one another.
Tell me, when it comes to skills development, as you're saying that your team is so important, what's your way? What's your thinking around, and even your action around developing the team around you? What have you put in place?
So skills development, a few of them went for the scaffolding design and inspection course. First aid training, firefighting they've done, and currently last year 2 of them finished the Bialgotex 6-week training course, which I think this year there'll be another one, or early next year, which more will be sent for that training.
Okay, so let's start, and I think I've mentioned it, that you're a young man, but you're also a newlywed.
Yes, yes.
And sometimes, Dwayne, big challenge in business, because you pretty much, if you've got your own business, you're the owner of the business, a lot of caps on, and you take home into your other relationships. How do you, as a business owner, deals with this? You've got a relationship with your wife, and not children now. The children will still come, I believe.
Yes.
How do you deal with that?
So there's a balance. There is a balance between family life and business. There should be a balance. And yes, I'm married now for a year now. Married now for a year to a wonderful person, definitely. And yeah, so it's about balance.
So what would that balance be, if I may ask, just to give not so much advice, because you haven't been married for a long time, but what would that balance be for a Dwayne? What is working for you?
I think also the understanding, things like and support in business. I mean, she's helped quite a bit over the time since we've been married, with whether it be admin or whether it be with calling up, following up on invoices and things like that. So I think it is also in communication. So
communication, there you go again. Communication, whether it's business communication, whether it's communicating with your team, communicating with clients, communicating in your personal life. Communication is key to success. Communication is key to moving forward. I just want to use this opportunity again that you can follow us on this platform, ettp.org.za, on YouTube and other channels as well. Dwayne, let's just, COVID happened.
Yes.
Now everybody was, caught off guard, and nobody really planned for this. Where did you find your business just before COVID and then and during COVID?
So with COVID has affected our business. It has affected our business. Some works that we had lined up and available has been put on hold due to the COVID thing. But I kept myself busy during COVID. So I kept myself busy. I bought a few, I made some furniture and things like that, which wasn't for the entire lockdown, but I kept myself busy. And yeah.
And also, how did you deal with your team? Did they work remotely? Just explain to me that setup.
So what happened? We have to work only on level 2. Which there was some works that we started with, but it doesn't that much works, like emergency work that we sorted out during the COVID thing. And yes, so and it was on a cycle basis, so everyone had an opportunity to do something during the lockdown. And
so the people were busy.
Yes.
Dwayne, so the plan and the strategy going forward. So what is your plan post-lockdown? So we are in almost a post-lockdown. I know that you've started doing some stuff. So what is your plan going forward? Call it post-lockdown in the next 6 to 7 months.
So my plan is definitely to enter get new customers, definitely, and approach more, let me not say private, but commercial and things like that, to enter new markets. And that is my plan and goal, to grow my business further after everything has been relaxed.
How would you do that? Yeah. So how would you go about doing that? Yeah.
So as you know, the coronavirus has affected quite a lot of companies. Actually, everybody it has affected. And many companies will be closing down. Big companies is closing down. Small companies is closing down. So that is also an opportunity for new companies to grow from the ashes, and others to grow bigger and work on the operations. And so that is our plan, that we're planning to do, to grow it and enter new markets. So we're going to be doing cold calling. We're going to be doing visits to different companies and things like that, to see for any opportunities.
The question that comes to mind is, and this is also going forward, how does professionalism, being professional, plays a role in going forward, and to open up those opportunities with clients? And what is professionalism to you?
It's everything. It is the way you dress when you approach a new customer. It's the way you talk and your body language. Those are 3 things. That are you presentable? do you speak condescending, or are you an arrogant person in your talks and things like that? So those three things are very important: how you dress, your body language, and how you speak, what you say. And
Yeah, that is very important. The way you
yes,
conduct yourself, the way you present yourself. Before people see your business, they see you.
they
And
see
how you
you.
articulate, and how you engage with people, because it all starts with, as you're saying, people do business with people
They
also they
like.
like, people
Yes.
do business with people they like. So it's very, very important. I've seen all these years how important it is to make impression on respect, how you approach people,
Yes.
how you engage with people, how you articulate your business. If let's do a quick one. If I bumped into you now in a escalator or a lift, and you've got a minute to do a sales speech, how would you articulate what you are doing in 1 minute?
In 1 month,
I'm
how would
putting you on the spot.
how would I to get new business? And I find out maybe you're in procurement and things like that. I would, because I carry business cards around with me and things, and I can email profiles through. So I would approach you and say, oh, I heard you. I'm Dwayne from Arebone Building and Clean Enterprise. This is what we do. I heard you are in procurement and things, or you're a buyer of a company and things. Are there any opportunities available, or is there a database that we can apply to be registered on? These are the things we do. We do tenant installations, we do drywalling, we do suspended ceilings. Are these any of the services that you require now or in the near future? Then you'd say yes or no, and then can I have your number or your email address and things like that to follow up and contact you if there's an opportunity available? If at the moment you say no, or you'll say, okay, email it through to me, or not right now, then I'll say, when can I call you? And then if you're hesitant in saying which day can I call you, then I will say, can I call you next week, Friday? And you'd say yes or no, and say, okay, in a month's time. And that's what I would do.
That's where the persistence comes through, and it also speaks of confidence.
Yes.
Confidence is very, very important, because you cannot engage with people if you don't have confidence, because confidence sells.
Yes.
It doesn't. If people pick up that energy of confidence, you know what you're all about. You know yourself, and you know your business. That recipe, works. So just almost the last two questions. How important is your own development in your entrepreneurial journey? How important is it for Dwayne to keep on developing himself and in your journey, your entrepreneurial journey?
It is a very good thing, because soon I'll need a counselor if I don't develop and move with the times and things like that. So it is important for me to, I was planning to register to do a short course in business management in the beginning of the year, but then I thought, okay, I'll register in June. So that's what I'm planning to do. So this month I'll be registering to do a business management course. So development is very important.
Yeah, we really believe that you cannot, you should be almost the head of your business. You should be in control. You should be in a well-conditioned, to take your business forward in times like these.
Yes.
Dwayne, what is your, I'm saying that you're a young person, and you are, but you've been around the block a bit since 2012. What is your advice to entrepreneurs out there? And it can be broad. It's a broad question, but what is your advice? We've heard about persistence. We've heard about communication. But what is your advice to entrepreneurs? And even, maybe even guys that want to, to step into or venture into entrepreneurship, what would be your advice?
My advice, besides like you mentioned, the persistence and confidence, is the things we regret the most in life are the chances we never took. So it's about risk, taking the risk, and a calculated risk. So we'll regret it in the end if we don't take that risk. So that's what I can say to the entrepreneurs. And
Yeah. So entrepreneurship, it's not just about having a small business, Dwayne. It's about looking forward. It's about pushing forward. It's about taking those calculated risks in moving
yes,
forward, and not sitting and waiting for things to happen, but to make things happen. That's what entrepreneurship is all about. I cannot, we cannot wait for people to help us. Many are saying, I need people to help me. And as much as we do understand how important mentorship is and advice is, the characteristic or the drive is, moving forward, taking those risks, not be fearful. And if you're fearful, just surround yourself with those people, but there must be that inner drive to really make it. So that's one of the takeaways as well, knowing that there is a drive. You're a quiet person, very reserved person in many ways, but there's a strong drive to be successful. There's a strong drive to make it happen. And from my side, I congratulate you on your achievements, on your journey. I do see there's a humbleness. You're not so all over the place about all your achievements. You do it, in a very, very reserved way. So well done on that, and all the best with your future as an entrepreneur. We believe in take it step by step. Thank you that you are, we are still in contact because you believe in engagement, you believe in relationship, as you were saying. And I think I want to maybe just finally say the following, that and to get it out there, people do business with people they like. People do business with people. So that's important. I want the participants to take note of that. That's what we believe in. Think around it. And thank you for participating in this conversation, telling your story, Dwayne, and all of the best for the future.
Thank you so
all the
much.
Participants. Thank you. All the participants, go well. You can, again, just a reminder to follow us on the ETTP platforms, even on YouTube. You can follow us, ettp.org.za. Thank you so much. All the best, and stay safe.
Thank you.
Thank you.